Okay, hey, so I live alone in an apartment, so I'm just going to talk about my lesson and include some teacher talk in with it. So the title of my lesson is the polka dotted tube, and the materials you need for this lesson is a toilet paper roll, empty toilet paper roll, and stickers. I said yard sale stickers on my lesson plan because I figured you would have those laying around the house, but any stickers would work that are solid. And you can add letters too. So what you need to do beforehand to prepare is to write letters on here, and for each letter on here you need to have a matching letter on your little stickers. So I did it on mine as an example. So this is a really good activity for at home because these are probably things that they'll have lying around, especially if they have little kids. They probably have some form of stickers, and we're always running out of toilet paper. The standard that my lesson aligns with is PKFLPC1, which is to demonstrate the understanding and organization of basic features of print. And then part D of that standard is to recognize familiar uppercase and some of the most common lowercase letters. So the central focus and the main idea or goal is that students will begin to recognize uppercase letters and some of the most common lowercase letters. So my lesson goes like, it talks about uppercase, lowercase letters, and like the alphabet. So in order to gauge their attention, you would say, okay guys, we're going to watch this little video to introduce the lesson that we're going to do. We are going to be, after we do this lesson, you're going to be able to recognize different uppercase and lowercase letters. And so you play this little video, and it's a 1-minute video, and it's like a little song about the alphabet, but it shows each letter as uppercase and lowercase, so they're able to visualize that. And any kid I've ever been around is just like drawn in as soon as the screen turns on, especially a screen with singing. So this is a really good set to just zone them in on the task at hand, and also making it, giving them a visual for what they're about to do. So after the lesson, you give each child the definition of uppercase and lowercase, which is, you would say, uppercase or capital letters are bigger versions of the letter and used at the beginning of a sentence or at the beginning of the title of something, like a name. Do you have a capital letter in your name? And then they could say yes, and then you say, what is it? And they tell you the first letter of their name. And then you say lowercase letters are the smaller version of that letter. Do you have any lowercase letters in your name? And they could give you an example. So that's really the set. And then you go into the instructional procedures of the whole like hands-on experience. And that is that, so you would say, we're going to practice our letters by matching the colorful stickers that have uppercase and lowercase letters to the letters on our little tubes. And then you say, I'll give you the tube and you can start matching the letters together. And so then you can give the students their supplies and just encourage them to look really closely at each letter before they actually stick it on. And then, so this is like a at-home activity, so most likely you're going to be one-on-one with the student, which is really awesome because you get some like personal time to see really where they are and help them out. And it's just really engaging that they have that one-on-one time. So as they match, so what they do is you would take, so this is like a lowercase a, so they would take this and put it on, they would try and find the lowercase a on the tube, and then they would stick it on. So as they're doing this, you could say, so depending on the age, their pre-K age, so they don't know every single one of their letters. These are their letters that they would be most familiar with that you choose for the tubes, but you could say either, do you know what letter, so this is as they're doing the lesson, you say, what letter is that? And they could say A, or you could say, what sound does that letter make? And they could say ah, or A, or any sound it makes, and that's right. And just say like, that's so awesome. Did you know that there's other sounds that they make, like A or ah? And then some other questions you can ask as they're going is that an uppercase or lowercase letter? And then you say, how did you know that that's an uppercase or lowercase letter? And you could say, do you know anyone whose name starts with that letter? Do you have that letter in your name? So just as they're going through, really engage them and make them think about what they're doing, and make it meaningful to them. So some safety issues might be to like just make sure to remind the student that if they play with the stickers and put them somewhere else, then it'll make it harder for them to match this like things all together, and just keep a close eye to make sure that they are putting the dots in the correct place so that it doesn't mess up the whole tube. And this lesson could be modified for older kids, and you could put blends on the tube like CH, TH, and SH, and they could match the blends to the stickers, and then they can practice the sounds, and that's really awesome because they are able to have a hands-on experience and not only like see the sound but practice the sound, and that's super important for when they are learning to read. Those blends are difficult at first, so it's a really good practice. And then for younger kids, you could do all uppercase letters and just focus on the matching, or even just the sounds, because they usually learn uppercase first. So that's how you could engage different age groups. And you could further it by adding words or whatever you want to do. There's a lot you could do with this. You could even do math with this kind of activity. But, so the reason I chose to do this lesson the way I did was that most students are familiar with the alphabet and recognize that there is a difference between uppercase and lowercase letters. However, by giving students hands-on activities and asking thought-provoking questions and repeating the practice over and over, they can master the information and feel more familiar and comfortable with it. So the constructivist theory explains that the learner should be actively engaged in their education, and that the learner needs to do something because learning is not a passive acceptance of knowledge. So that's why I chose to do a hands-on activity like the stickers in the tube, because I believe that students would gain more from experience, the identification and explanation of the letters, than just listening to me like tell them about it, especially at such a young age, because it wouldn't be developmentally appropriate for me to just say, hey, here's a worksheet, do it. So that's why I chose to do a hands-on activity, because it makes it more meaningful and they really get to like experience the knowledge rather than just like me talking at them. And the behaviors theory is why I decided to include repeated practice in my lesson, because it just talks about how when the leader or teacher is actively involved in giving feedback and asking thought-provoking questions to the student, it allows them to master it, because they are able to just really get the feedback they need to know where they need to grow, and deliberately practice this uppercase and lowercase letters. So the way that I did that in my lesson is by first showing the video, which shows them like the uppercase and lowercase letters, and then second, they're doing this, putting the stickers on the tube, and they're practicing it then, because I am asking them thought-provoking questions throughout the whole thing, and they're doing the same thing over and over by like identifying or matching the letter, identifying the letter. Is it uppercase or lowercase? What's the sound of it? And that's just repeated throughout the tube. And then to go back for the third time of repeating the same kind of lesson is that we go back over the tube as a wrap-up and say, so you go back and say, is this uppercase or lowercase? Do you know this letter? And just ask them those questions so that they get a really thorough review of what they've just done, and praise them for their success in identifying these letters, and because that's a lot. This is important for their development. And it allows, that repeated practice allows them to really master the information. So that is how the lesson goes. I don't know if I actually included the wrap-up part of the lesson. The closure was that after they've put all the stickers on the tube, you go back over it with them one by one. And see, there's not a lot of letters on this tube, so it's not like you're going over it for forever. It should be a pretty short lesson, like 10 to 15 minutes maximum. But you go back over the letters and say, do you know this letter? Is it uppercase or lowercase? How do you know it's uppercase or lowercase? So they're really like going back and thinking instead of just like regurgitating information. So that is the polka dotted tube lesson.